Hey fam, welcome, Mr. Frederick. Welcome. Happy Friday. Feeling the Holy Spirit today. Woo! Yeah! Hallelujah. All right. Yes. Welcome, guys. Just give me a second. I always look for the Bible verse before I start my live. Okay, guys. I have found it. This is Acts Acts 17:28. For in him we live and move and have our being, as certain also of your own poets have said, for we are also his offspring. Wow, that's deep. That's deep. I'm gonna read that again, guys. That's one more. You got to get one more in that. That's Acts 17:28. For in him we live and move and have our being, as certain also of your own poets have said, for we are all also his offspring. So that's pretty self-explanatory right there, fam. That's telling you that we come from the Most High. We're the children. We're the children. All right, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and go in today's live and what it's about. Happy Friday. Ooh, feels so good today. All right, guys. This is going to be about never go against yourself. Okay? Pretty self-explanatory, to the point. Never go against yourself. It might sound like, to a lot of people out there, that might sound like common sense. Of course, Mr. Frederick, you don't go against yourself. Well, what's supposed to be common is not always common, okay? So a lot of people, hold on, let me just see. A lot of people, if you've grown up, depending on your background, what type of environment you grew up in, you could grow up in an environment where it really is not promoted, or it is. Let me say, it's promoted for you to go against yourself. So it's not a always everyone grows up the same to have the same skills, the same understanding of everything that happens. We all have different experiences. We all have different backgrounds. So that's why I talk about this stuff. But you wouldn't need therapy. People wouldn't need therapy. They wouldn't need coaches if we all had stable backgrounds and everything was healthy and all that kind of stuff. There'd be no need for any of that. This would be a utopia. This whole society would be just perfection, which we know it's not. So that's the reason, you don't go against yourself. And a lot of times what promotes that, well, I'm going to tell you a few things that promotes that you got to watch out for in particular. Is one thing that promotes that. Thank you, Islam. I do believe I'm right about this. One thing that promotes this is if you have, and welcome to the live. Welcome to the live. If you have grown up and you have narcissistic parents, which a lot of people do, we live in a narcissistic world. And don't get me wrong, we all have a little narcissist in us. We all, especially nowadays, is very promoted. And you get rewarded the more narcissistic you are in a lot of ways. Hey, Ayadin, am I saying it right? Ayadin? I hope I'm saying it right. But we all have a little in us. The problem is when people have an excess amount. So when people, you need ego in order to just survive and be your best. Thank you very much, Black Mystic. I'll take mystically. But so we need a little bit of ego. Well, a lot of ego in certain situations, but we definitely need it. So I'm not going to say that it's not needed. I'm not going to say that narcissism is all bad. It's when it's excess. It's when it's excessive. It's when it's pervasive. It's when it's used in such a way to diminish others. Whenever you're diminishing someone else, whenever you're doing that, that's a problem. What do you say, Mick Swagger? I like that name. Can narcissistic behavior be a defense mechanism of dealing with Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely it can be. That's a good statement, Mick Swagger. It can be, but you have to understand that you have to be careful with that. Let's get some likes in here. Come on, guys, give me some likes. You have to be careful with defining when you see someone that comes at you, because now they're controlling you. So now when that person can bring out the worst in you and make you a horrible individual, now you're looking at a situation where you have let someone manipulate you. They're pretty much your puppet master. And you don't want that. You want to be your own person. So when you identify this person is bringing out the worst in you, you get away from them. You get away because you want to be around people that make you a good person or better person. You don't want to be around people that makes you a worse person. Because think about it, when you leave that person, you have all of that on you. So now when you go to someone else who's not narcissistic, they can identify that you're operating off of that energy and they're going to leave you alone. And that's not even your natural persona. It's just that that's what you had to do to survive. So that's a good question. I'm glad you said that. So next I'm going to say, when you have those parents, they manipulate, they don't hold themselves accountable for anything. So what happens is you might take the trait of becoming, as a child of narcissistic people, hopefully you don't have two, but usually a person has one, but some people are unlucky and they have two. It could be covert and overt. Oh Lord. Anyway, but if you have that, those people cannot take accountability. They constantly manipulate you, constantly lying, sneaky. They could do things to you and lie about it. It's horrible. So if you have people come up under people like that, it's abuse. Literally, that's abuse. So whether you define it as it or not, it is. So you're going to have so many bruises and wounds that when you go out into the world, you might have those narcissistic traits because that's how you were raised. And you also, that's why I'm glad you said that, Mick Swagger. So you have those traits, but also you're susceptible to try to solve the issues you had with those parents. So you might marry a narcissist because now you feel you have the ability, it's subconscious now, but you subconsciously want to try to fix that relationship with that narcissistic mother, that narcissistic father. So now you're gravitating subconsciously towards narcissist people. So now you're picking a mate that's narcissistic subconsciously. Now, what do you think is going to happen when you go pick a mate that's narcissistic? It's going to be a disaster. The reason why is because you're not narcissistic and you don't like those type of people. It's your subconscious that's drawn to them. So it's going to be bad any kind of way you look at it. So come on, guys, give me some likes. So that's the problem when you have the narcissistic parents, is that you now embody a lot of those traits and embody the traits of an individual that can deal with those people. And you don't want to deal with them on any level. When you see someone's narcissistic, you want to run. Especially if you're empathetic, if you're a loving person. Those are great traits in the right environment. But those are horrible traits when you're around the wrong people. When you're loving and empathetic, you can't be that in the jungle. You can't be that in a war zone. You can't be empathetic. It's a time to be empathetic and loving. And it's a time to be a warrior and a destroyer of anything in front of you. So you have to have levels. It's levels to this. So a whole healthy human being has to be comfortable in these different arenas. And the problem is, if you don't have that background of allowing you the freedom to exercise those different sides of your personality, you get punished for speaking up. You get punished for taking up for yourself. You get punished for being an individual in narcissistic households. So you don't develop a healthy sense of self. It's either unbalanced some kind of way. Either you're too much of narcissistic, or you don't have enough of it. But either way, the balance was what you had to do as a youngster to survive. And the problem with that is it's hard to develop healthy relationships in your life. And you want healthy. So you don't want your past to dictate your future. You want to be able to, that's why you need the therapy, you need the coaching, guys. And that's what I come in, because I have that information and I'm getting better at it. So I can tell you, those are the things you want to watch out for, is people who display those traits. And you got to say no. You got to say no, family. Don't feel ashamed. Don't feel bad. You got to tell people no. You got to let them know, hey, don't be a people pleaser. Because again, in those type of families, if you grew up like that, you might get rewarded for being a people pleaser somewhat. So to get what you want, you might become a manipulator too, and not be true to your authentic self. When you initially need to let people know, you got to gate them at the door. No, I don't like this. And you got to get in the habit of doing that. Again, the better you off getting away from these type of people, the better you'll be able to do it, because we become creatures of habit. What you're around, that is what you will do. Hey, ducky root beer. What you're around is what you'll be. You know, if you're around, if you're in mud, you get out of the mud, you are mud. You got mud all over you. Okay. And another thing I want to say is that they're predator. They're predatory. So you got to understand that when you go against yourself, the problem is someone who's very predatory. If you ever go against yourself, they can identify that and they'll capitalize off of that. So that type of person will capitalize off of any type of inch you give them. So they literally sit back like a hunter. They sit back like a hunter and wait for the prey to come in. And what they're looking for is someone who gives them an inch, who gives them benefit of a doubt, who shows any sort of empathy, any sort of trust. Someone like that, if they see that individual, they pounce like a lion on prey, because they're like, wow, you know, look what I got. And that's the problem, that if you go against yourself, you will attract those people. And I mean, if you do it one time, you never tell yourself no in order to tell someone else yes. You understand? And the thing is if you ever do that, they will sometimes get into a pattern where they believe that is how you operate. So now when they have gotten used to you doing that, and you try to change and impose boundaries, they're going to have a problem with that. They're going to have a problem with accepting a healthy version of you. If they've seen you operate unhealthy for so long, and that unbalanced kind of way of dealing in relationships, if they've witnessed that, it's going to be very hard for them to just, now you're going to set these boundaries, say, hey, hold on, I'm healthy now. You know, I'm not drinking all day. I'm not throwing all my problems away, smoking all my problems away. I'm healthy. They're going to be like, wait a minute, we know you as doing this. They didn't realize the only way you could even be around them was you had to be drunk. The only way you could even deal with them is you had to be under the influence, high on marijuana or alcohol or something. You couldn't even deal with them sober. So a lot of people might not even be aware that you were bearing your real self, your authentic self. You were suppressing it in order to just deal with situations that you actually created, you know? And that's the problem with substance abuse too. That's the problem with substance abuse. It actually does that. It literally sets you back, you know, whenever you abuse substances in order to deal with yourself, in order to deal with your issues, it sets you back. It really does. It's sad, but you want to get help for that too. And the doctor can help you with all of that kind of stuff. And last but not least on this, guys, I want to say that one thing that when you go against yourself in situations, you will attract people that will certainly, absolutely abandon you. You will attract people that won't be loyal, that at the end of the day, they're going to abandon you and they're not going to be there for you. So that's what you're going to attract. You're not going to have healthy relationships. You're going to attract people that just want to take, get what they can get from you, and then they're out. That's all you're going to get when you are operating off of that. So that's very dangerous. That's last night. And now I want to go into who we're going to talk about this week. This week, we're going to talk about a rapper. Today, I'm going to give a rapper some credit here. A rapper that I like, a rapper that I enjoy, always liked for a long time. Positive rapper, puts out good music for the most part. But more than anything, he has a good message. And he's been doing it consistently a long time. And that's Common. Most of you guys know Common he's a famous rapper out of Chicago. His music, he's been in movies too. Not sure if he's the best actor around, but you know, his music, his writing is definitely excellent. So I want to give Common some props because Common has never changed. He's been out since about early 90s. I think I first remember him. And he's never changed. I've never seen him change his musical style, start changing his content, what he talks about, what's the trends. He stays pretty consistent about everything. So I think he needs to get credit. This is pretty good too, guys. If you ever get the chance to drink some of this stuff here, this Naked, this is good. Blue Machine, they have one, a Green Machine, but it really gives you a boost. I mean, you know, it's expensive, but It gives you energy, by the way. But yeah, Common, I want to give him a lot of his flowers right now because I don't think he gets enough respect. I don't think Common gets enough respect. We need, and if we want to see more positive rappers, we got to promote the rappers that have been positive for a long time, their whole career. Like, how are you going to get more if you don't even promote the ones that are doing it? If you just promote the ones that are talking garbage and negativity, that's drill and all of that. That's what you're going to get. So I want to say that Common, give him a shout out. He got a new album out too. Check out. It's a song on there too that I like. I think it's called "This Is Me." This is me on his new album. It's with Pete Rock, and he has a song on there called "Daydreaming." I think they sample Aretha Franklin on that one. But check out that cut. And yeah, Common. Check out Common. And guys, enjoy your weekend. And remember, love what you do what you love. Take care.